Hey, how you guys doing? I'm X. So 1.11.2 shader mods. So recently they changed the shader mods and stuff to where you can use Optifine, and they just made it super simple. I mean, compared to the way that we used to have to install it, which I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how I install it at the end of this. But I'm going to go ahead and just say maybe you should check to see if you even want it first. So let's go ahead and just check out some maps real quick. So this is a survival world. It does work on servers as well. Just want to let you guys know that. As you can see, as you start into the game, you guys can see that it has the very barometric clouds, and it's getting ready to rain, which is really cool. And you guys will see that once it starts raining, it actually leaves moisture on the ground, these little puddles. If you look, you can see the puddles, which is really cool. And it adds in this just whole area. And you can see that when you hold a torch in your hand, it actually lights up, which adds in a super realistic, look to it. You guys can see that the water looks really good. You can see that the rain particles are pretty decent as well. When we jump into the water, you guys can see that there's also the particles on there. And then when we go down here, the torch works underwater, which is not really realistic, but it is definitely immersive. It's definitely immersive. So just, if you check that out, it's all wet and stuff. It looks really cool. It'd be cool if it actually didn't get the desert wet, but I mean, you know, it is kind of, the desert doesn't rain, which is unrealistic. But anyway. Okay, so, let's go ahead and clear weather. I think that's how it is. Is it clear weather or weather clear? I think it's weather clear. So clearing weather. Now I wanted to go ahead and mention to you guys something before we go any further. And I wanted to let you guys know, just take a look at my computer stats. Look at how much frame rate I'm getting. Now, I'm getting 48 frames right here, but I'm going to go ahead and tell you that there is so much stuff under the ground. There is a mob farm. There is a slime generator. There is another mob farm way over there, and there's stuff that's actually working. So under normal circumstances, though, I get about 72. It's only because of the houses is why I get that. Yeah, definitely looks cool, and you can see that it adds just a really cool realism factor. So going into this mine, you guys can see that you couldn't really go in here really. It's pretty. There you go. So just holding a torch in your hand, and you guys can see. It just looks cool, as you guys can see. It just really looks cool. So you can see that there is the sun particle. So when the barometric clouds aren't there, you can actually get a really cool look at the sun. And I'm going to go ahead and just show you guys that by turning it off. Some other features too is because this is with Optifine, you can go ahead and hold C and zoom in, which is really cool. You can zoom in and see stuff from far away, kind of like having binoculars. But let's go ahead and I wanted to talk about, when I had a bad computer, I used to be able to run this without, I would run it with clouds off. And just because the clouds would add in, so much, This one I don't believe you can disable clouds unless you go into the menu, but you can actually do it if you would like to. I don't actually know where clouds are on this, because I think they actually already are disabled. I usually disable them. So some other facts too is that you can download other shader packs. You can actually open up the shader folder from here and add them, just drag and drop. And you can also just turn it off. So you can just turn off if it's too taxing on your computer. You can turn it off. And if you donate to Optifine, you can actually get a cape as well that says OF on it, which is pretty sweet. It just says Optifine. I heard you can customize these, in your menu if you want to, but I'm just gonna say it only works with Optifine. So pretty sweet. Anyway, another thing I wanted to go ahead and note before we do this, go ahead and add on the shader again. As long as it's a 1.11.2, it should work on this. There are other features you could do. You can turn this stuff on, map normal. You could do all kinds of stuff here, shadow quality, and you can make it increase it or decrease it, hand depth, and so on. These are not things I usually mess with. You know, shadowing options. You can see that you can actually turn the clouds off, but I like them on. You can go with a smooth clouds, and so on. There's just all kinds of options you guys can mess around with if you guys would like to, but that's pretty much it. As you guys can see, the sun is going down below the hill, and you can see that the shadow is coming in just so realistic. Just take a look at that. Doesn't that look so cool? I actually see, is it F3? No, F1. F1, and I'm gonna go ahead and just take a picture of that. Seriously, it just looks cool. So as it gets to nighttime here, you guys can check out the water again. It looks really cool. I really like the fact that there's waves in it, and it's in the most current version, which is pretty sweet. So one of the things that I forgot to add in is the if I'm flying, let me actually go. You can see that you get this weird, there it is. You can see that when you're looking from the water, it actually waves like it would in real life, which is kind of cool. And of course, you can see that every torch on here adds a lot of light to it. It just looks really cool. And there you go, full darkness. And if you go under the water, you can actually see that, and it just looks really cool. I gotta just say, I love this shader mod. I really do. It's really really cool. But it does require a pretty sturdy computer. Now you can find other shader mods if you guys would like to. So let's go ahead and check this out on a server real quick, just for a sec. We're gonna go ahead and jump on the Hypixel server, and there you go. You guys can see that it works on here, pretty decent. As you can see shadows. Pretty cool though. Get the shadowing effect. It definitely changes the game and makes it look so much better. Check that out. That's pretty cool. They got stick figures carrying woods. Wood, that's cool. That's awesome. Big old gear looking thing. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay. So, let's go ahead and talk about installing this. So, you're actually going to need to get a couple of things first. I'm going to go ahead and just say let's start out easy, and that is you're probably going to want to download Java. And I'm going to say if you're not sure, you can just download it anyway because it won't hurt nothing unless you get a different version than what you own. So I want to go ahead and just tell you guys right here that if you're going to download this and try this shader, don't use it on a 32-bit computer. I had a 32-bit computer and I got about 15 FPS, and it did actually take away the life of my computer. So I myself download the 64-bit version myself. That's the one I like to download. So we're going to download that and then we're going to wait to install it. So I'm going to have these links in the description so you guys can go ahead and check it out right now if you want to and download Java, and we'll go ahead and just install that before we go anywhere. Now we need the Java downloaded so that we can actually use Optifine's executable. Well, it's a jar file, but it is an executable. So this is really easy, and if you already have it, it'll already overlay it. You could have issues in the future with other ones, like if you have it on there already. Now, you guys might say, "Hey, doesn't Minecraft already have it, installed?" I think it does, but I don't know how to get it. I don't know how to use it to get it to work. So it's easier just to download this. So it's a simple matter of just hitting install. And depending on your computer, it can take longer or less time. I'm actually overlaying this right over the top of my existing Java. So it's basically overlaying over the top of it. And there you go, verified, so on, and close it. Okay, so now that you have that, you can go ahead and just delete it or keep it in your files for future reference. So now that we have Java done, we can go ahead and go to the next link, which is Sonic Ether's Unbelievable Shader Mods on the Minecraft forums. And you guys can see that it has some really cool pictures, and I'm going to go ahead and say if you guys want to know any more information, please go and check him out here on Facebook. And he has other stuff. For instance, like I said, this doesn't work on some laptops. This doesn't work on some processors. So don't just download this and act like it's going to work for you. You do have to have a good computer. So the next thing we need to do is to download Optifine. Now I'm going to leave a link because I'm going to go ahead and say that you shouldn't actually use this because it just takes you to another place that sends you to another link. So I'm going to have the link that takes you directly to Optifine downloads, which is basically optifine.net/downloads, which is pretty simple. And you're just going to want to go ahead and download this. Now, if you guys have never messed with AdFly before, you just want to wait up here. If you look on the right-hand corner, up here where I have the mouse, you wait for it to say skip ad. It'll take you back to Optifine, and you can go ahead and get your download right here. So we're going to go ahead and download that again. I'm going to go ahead and save it to my desktop. And of course, if you're using Chrome, it'll be in downloads. So if you're looking for the download, it'll be in your download folder. All right, so we got that stuff. All right. So we have that. So the next thing we're going to need is the actual shader mod itself, which is right here, as you guys can see. These are some of the new tweaks that he's done to it. Varimetric clouds and all that stuff. And you got the preview one and all that. These are all for 1.8. And you can see that he only has one version out right now. So you go ahead and just hit download on that. It'll take you to AdFly again. And of course, you got to do the same thing you did before, which is to just wait until it says you can download it. And this is not a scam. As you guys can see, you just hit, you know, I accept the EULA, you know, rights, and you hit download, and go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and download mine to my desktop. So we have all of them. View download should be completed. I'm going to go ahead and leave that up. So we have our shader pack, and we have Optifine, and we've already installed Java. Now this is how hard it is to install it once you have Java on it. If you look at this and you only see a file that looks like this but it's all white, then your Java either isn't installed or there's something wrong. So if you don't see the executable jar file, which you guys can see, this is how hard it is. Now I'm going to go ahead and recommend something that once you install this, go ahead and highlight this and hit Control C, right? Hit Control C because we're going to want to remember that location that it's installed. So go ahead and hit install, and boom, it's done. That's it. It's that simple. Now I do want to mention something to you. If you're doing this on a fresh, you know, was it update, like, and you've never played Minecraft before, you do have to play, you do have to have the existing version. So this will work in the future, at least it should work in the future, but you have to have, it'll tell you something like this. It'll say you don't have the 1.11.2 file, and it won't allow you to download it if you don't have it. So you guys can see that I have the latest 1.11.2. So it was able to create an Optifine, and this would be the profile that you'd want to use from here on out. And you can see it says Optifine HDUCI, and that would be the one that we'd want to use for our shader mod. Now, I'm going to go ahead and say that there is something that we need to do first, and that is we need to get our folder in the correct place. Now, there's a super simple, easy way to do this, and that is to basically go ahead and just play, let it warm up. You should start up, and you're just basically going to be using this with just Optifine. Now you guys already seen that I have the shader installed, but I'm going to go ahead and show you guys how you get your shader pack installed on the game. So go ahead and just pick a single player, any map you'd like to, and we're going to go ahead and just hit escape once we get in here. Hit escape, go to options, go to video settings, go to shader, and then down here you're going to want to go to shader file, and as you can see, this is where I keep my shaders. You can see I have Sonic Ether's version 10.1, and I also have the version, so the one we just downloaded. I'm going to go ahead and just close these because we don't really need them. So let's see here. Where is that folder? Did I do something else with it? I don't need this. Don't need that. Oh, there it is. Okay, so you'd want to grab this folder and just drop it, drop it in here. I already have it, as you guys can see. I'm gonna go ahead and just replace it. It shouldn't cause anything. it's saying that it needs this. I'm actually running the game, so it's not going to allow me to do it, but I thought I could. But there you go. So we're running the shader. You can drop your shader pack in here, and then all you'd have to do is just enable it by hitting enable. And as you can see, it would probably be set on off normally, and you'd want to just go ahead and hit on. And then once you're done with on, you go ahead and hit this, and you're done. That's pretty much all there is to it. And now you need to do is just watch and make sure that you're getting decent frame rate. Now just keep in mind that I have a top of the line computer setup, so I'm getting 72 FPS, which is crazy if you guys think about that. It's crazy amounts of FPS for running a shader with varimetric clouds. Now I do want to mention to you guys one more thing before we go, and that is, I don't know what the minimum requirements are. I do know that you could probably run an i5, you know, like, was it, I think it's like a 47 or 50, was it 51K? I don't remember what the name of it is. And you could probably go a minimum, I'm going to say, probably a 690 or a 780, or sorry, 790, is it, no, it's 760. 960 would be the best one you could go with, and I think that's the minimum you can do. I think Sonic Ether actually uses 2 graphics cards for his, but I'm not too sure. I'm just going to tell you that a Titan works for me. They're about $500, so just think about that for a second. The processor that I have cost about 230, or sorry, 330, and I got a deal on it. But anyway, well, let's go ahead and go back to my desktop, and that's what you guys should have. If you guys are having problems with this, I would say just go ahead and go check back, make sure you have Java installed, and of course, if you're like me and you don't really like I'm just going to say I don't really like to have programs I don't use very often, I'm going to keep Java on my computer, but you do not have to keep it on there. You can always uninstall it and just go back anytime and re-download it if you would like to. Anyway, I hope you guys find this helpful, and I hope you find the review decent. And of course, punch that like button if you can. And of course, if you really enjoyed this, please hit the bell and subscribe. All right, later.